Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
This is Optimal Work Daily, episode 1414. It's not the bottom, it's the foundation, by Seth Godin of Seth's.blog. And I'm your narrator, Dan, and we're going to jump right into our post for this Wednesday as we optimize your life. It's not the bottom, it's the foundation, by Seth Godin of Seth's.blog. Organizations are built on the work of people who don't get paid very much, don't receive sufficient respect, and are understandably wary of the promises they've been hearing for years. Calling these folks the bottom of the org chart doesn't help. Imagine that throughout your career you were paid as little as legally possible, the last to be hired and the first to be laid off. Imagine that the boss gets more vacation days, doesn't have to clock in and out, and is actually given control over how he spends his time. Why is it surprising to bosses then that some workers respond to this arrangement by doing as little work as possible? Here's the thing. People actually want to do a good job. They want to be proud of their work. They appreciate being engaged. They thrive when they have some measure of control over their day. Too often, though, the optimistic leader meets the pessimistic front line, and distrust undermines all the good intent. The boss loses patience and reverts to the test and measure, trust no one, scientific management tradition of dehumanizing the very humans who make the whole project work. And so, back to being mediocre. Back to high turnover, low trust, no care. Back to workers who don't believe and bosses who are now cynics. Mostly, back to an ordinary organization that's like so many others. There is an alternative, but it's a process, not an event. Step 1. A commitment from the top that this place is going to be different. The commitment is open-ended. It involves leading and showing up and keeping promises for months and years into the future. It's non-cynical, and it views leadership as an opportunity, the possibility of serving customers at the very same time you inspire and enable employees. This is going to take a long time, and it's not going to be the cheapest path. It turns out, though, in industries where people matter, which is more and more of the work we do, that this path pays for itself eventually. Step 2. Hire for attitude, not for learned skills. You can teach someone to do just about anything. It's far more difficult to build an instinct to care. When you hire trustworthy people who are willing to trust you, you have an opportunity to build trust, which enables communication, which allows you to teach, which upgrades everything. If you are in a hurry to assemble a group of people who can, quote-unquote, do the work, you will end up with folks who merely needed a job. On the other hand, if you're willing to invest in people who are enrolled in the journey you're on, you will end up with a team. Corollary. Fire for attitude, fix for skills. The attitudes you put up with will become the attitudes of your entire organization. Over time, every organization becomes what is tolerated. Step 3. Be clear in actions and words about what's important. It doesn't do any good to hire for attitude but only reward for short-term results. If you reward a cynic merely because he got something done, you've made it clear to everyone else that cynicism is okay. If you overlook the person who is hiding mistakes because his productivity is high, then you are rewarding obfuscation and stealth. Who gets the Employee of the Month parking space? Who gets laid off? People are watching you. They're not listening to your words as much as they're seeking to understand where the boundaries and the guardrails lie, because they've learned from experience that people who do what gets rewarded get rewarded. Hint: if you tell people something is important but fail to give them the tools and the support and the training that they need to do that important thing, you've just told them that it's not actually important. Step 4. Be clear and consistent about how we do things around here. It's going to be a long time before people act like they own the place. After all, you own the place and you don't even act like you do most of the time. This job is important. It feeds my family. It pays the rent. It's connected to my self-esteem. I will act in the interest of my family, not your invisible shareholders. And step 5, your problem is not their problem. The people who build the foundation of your business have plenty of things to worry about. Your narrative about your day is not one of them. Over time, it's reasonable to expect that an engaged and respectful working environment will lead to ever more big-picture thinking. But it's naive and self-defeating to expect a 20-year-old who's been on the job for a week to make a connection between the customer who just walked in, your big wholesale account, the loan that's due soon, and the espresso he just pulled. Every day you're going to be tested on these 5 principles. Every day there's going to be a moment of urgency, a shortcut presented, a confusion. And in that moment, the first principle is going to come into question. But this is the foundation. It's not the bottom. This is the source for all your possibility, for the change you seek to make. Isn't it worth it? You just listened to the post titled, "It's Not the Bottom, It's the Foundation," by Seth Godin of Seth's.blog. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all have non-negotiables. Maybe you never skip leg day or have to take your morning walks. But when your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. Therapy can help you reclaim control of your time and values. And make no mistake, therapy is for everyone. Whether or not you've been through significant trauma, therapy can be a great tool for setting boundaries, learning positive coping skills, and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/workdaily today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/workdaily. We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it filters out incompatible applicants. So when you're hiring, the process is much faster, and you only have to consider applicants that are already likely to be a great fit. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/startup. So just go to Indeed.com/startup right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/startup. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. And thank you so much to Seth for giving us permission to narrate from his blog. Seth is a really popular writer. He's got 19 best-selling books, and he's also the creator of Alt MBA, which is an online leadership and management workshop. Now, Alt MBA uses digital tools to engage with small groups of 120 students in an intense 4-week process. It's been going on since 2015 and has transformed the lives of more than 4,500 people in more than 70 countries. And a little bit more about Seth. He's been writing daily on his blog for over a decade now. More than 60,000 people have taken his online courses, and he has 5 TED Talks. So his site is definitely a wealth of information, worth your time to check it out. You can find the blog, but also books, podcasts, speaking, and so much more right there on his site, which again is Seth's.blog. But that's it for today here on Optimal Work Daily. I appreciate you being here as always, and I'll see you once again tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.